On the beach, a man accidentally fell into the sea. Just as he was about to drown, a mermaid swam toward him, lifted him up, and helped him breathe again. When she saw the rescue team approaching, she pushed the man upward and quickly hid in the depths of the ocean. Her name was Han-ai, a mermaid who lived deep under the sea. Recently, she had been captivated by the famous chef Shirkyung, so she often surfaced just to secretly watch him. Perfect face, perfect body. Saving the man this time made Han-ai's heart race uncontrollably. That night, when Shirkyung went home, he faintly remembered a scene of being in the sea. Though the memory was unclear, it felt real, as if it carried the taste of love. Han-ai went to her older sister to ask about how to become human. She had heard that her sister once had a close friend who turned into a human and found love. Han-ai knew her sister was strict, so she offered 300 years' worth of fine wine in exchange. Finally, her sister told her that the friend was now happily living with a man, and advised Han-ai not to disturb them. Instead, she should seek out someone called Manayo, the second mermaid who had turned into a human. When Han-ai found Manayo, she was shocked. Manayo was actually a man. Han-ai revealed her true identity. "I am Princess Han-ai, the 18th daughter of the Mermaid Kingdom." She asked for the heart pill to become human. Mo clutched his pouch tightly and said only 3 words. "There isn't." He warned her sternly to stay away from humans. The human world is dangerous, especially men. Then he turned and left. The next day, Han-ai brought her family heirloom vase and a pearl as large as an egg, hoping to exchange them for the pill. Although Manayo accepted the gifts, he still refused to give it. Taking advantage of his distraction, Han-ai snatched the pill. "No matter what you say, I'll take it first." Even as Manayo shouted, it was too late. Han-ai had already swallowed it. The next moment, a flash of white light streaked across the dark sky, and she successfully transformed into a human. Looking at her long, fair legs, she was thrilled. But then she realized something was wrong. She didn't have clothes. At the same time, a young man named Hyunmyeong, upset after being dumped by his girlfriend, was drinking alone by the riverbank. When he saw a naked girl fall from the sky, he thought it was just some nerd's life-sized figurine. He walked closer to take a look, only to be kicked flying by Han-ai. Hyunmyeong fainted. Han-ai tried to take his pants to wear. Just as she was about to succeed, Hyunmyeong woke up and struggled to stop her. If it had been another girl, he might have helped, but instead he was now wrestling with her. At that moment, a group of women passed by and misunderstood the situation. "Let go of that girl," they shouted. No matter how Hyunmyeong tried to explain, it sounded impossible to clear himself. Hearing that he was drinking alone by the river, his girlfriend rushed over. She already looked down on him, and now seeing this shameful scene, she was furious. Just as she was about to call the police, Manayo suddenly appeared, hung up her call, and carried Han-ai away. Hyunmyeong tried to explain, but his girlfriend ignored him and left in anger. Meanwhile, Manayo gave Han-ai some clothes to change into. Overjoyed at becoming human, she couldn't stop smiling. Han-ai was preparing to attend Shirkyung's party. She also planned to return the phone he had dropped into the sea. But just as she was about to hand it over, she accidentally slipped and caused a scene. But before she could react, another woman suddenly pulled her aside. The 2 women quickly got into a heated fight, each accusing the other in front of Shirkyung. "Do you even know me? Why should I know you?" The argument grew tense. When she finally realized that Shirkyung no longer cared for her, she collapsed into despair. Standing there, Manayo appeared and explained the truth to Han-ai. "Although you have gained human legs, if you fail to find true love within 100 days, you will vanish just like her." Han-ai was terrified. She had already taken the pill, and there was no way back. With no choice left, Manayo arranged for Han-ai to live in a shared house and gave her a false identity as Kim Han-ai. Inside the room, Manayo demonstrated how to act like a human and then left. Looking around the unfamiliar space, Han-ai felt both excited and nervous. Suddenly, she heard strange noises. When she checked, it turned out to be just a bad dream. Then came a knock at the door. 2 young male housemates stood outside, inviting her to eat instant noodles with them. For Han-ai, this was the first time tasting such food. The rich aroma made her eyes light up, and the first bite filled her with an unfamiliar but wonderful satisfaction. She ate quickly, finishing an entire pot of noodles in one sitting, and then devoured a plate of chicken drumsticks. The housemaid stared in shock. Even more surprising, Hanai drank an enormous amount of water. A 50-liter bottle in one go wasn't even enough. Just then Hyunmyeong walked in. The two recognized each other instantly, both stunned. Hanai realized that Hyunmyeong lived right next door. Without hesitation, he grabbed her hand, insisting on taking her to his girlfriend to clear his name from their earlier misunderstanding. But once the two women met, another argument broke out, leaving everyone unsettled. Later, back at the house, Ha went to take a bath. To her horror, her legs transformed back into a golden mermaid tail as soon as the water touched them. She panicked, realizing the danger of being exposed. Manayo had once warned her, after becoming human, if her legs were drenched in water, they would instantly revert to a tail. If anyone discovered her secret, she could become the subject of human experiments. Trying to compose herself, Hanai returned to the living room. Her housemate seemed normal, but she couldn't tell if someone had seen her transformation. At that moment, a glass of water spilled onto her legs. In an instant, her tail reappeared. Just as disaster seemed inevitable, someone switched off all the lights. Hanai lay on the floor, paralyzed with fear. But then she realized it was her housemate Wai Young who had acted. She had seen her true form, yet she wasn't afraid. Instead, she calmly covered for her, protecting her secret. Hanai was deeply curious. "Why aren't you scared?" she asked. Wai Young simply smiled and promised to keep her secret. From that moment on, she became Hanai's closest friend in the human world. Together, they went out to explore, sharing meals of steamed crab, grilled abalone, and roasted oysters. For the first time, Hanai truly felt what it meant to live among humans. One evening, Hanai and her housemates went out for barbecue. As they left, they happened to see Shirkyung taking photos with Gina. Hanai, already tipsy, stumbled forward and suddenly threw herself into Shirkyung's arms, hugging him tightly and kissing him. The people around were stunned. Before anyone could react, Gina angrily pulled Hanai away. The two women glared at each other, their conflict written all over their faces. In her drunken state, Hanai accidentally blurted out her true identity. "Do you remember me?" "That day at the Han River?" she asked. Fortunately, Wai Young rushed forward, quickly pulling her away before she could reveal more. As she carried her off, Shirkyung was left standing there, confused. Yet, the kiss from Hanai felt strangely familiar. It was exactly like the moment in the sea when she had breathed life back into him. The next day, Hanai sobered up and apologized to Shirkyung. To her surprise, instead of being angry, Shirkyung smiled and complimented her refined sense of taste. Her extraordinary palate impressed him greatly, so he invited her to join him again the following day for a special meal he was preparing. Hanai was overjoyed, as giddy as a child. That night, while bathing, Hanai chatted with Shirkyung on the phone, laughing nervously at his invitation. But trouble was always near. When her housemate came in to hand her clothes, Hanai's legs were splashed with water. Her tail instantly appeared. To make matters worse, Hyunmyeong walked in and saw the gleaming golden mermaid tail with his own eyes. Panicked, Hanai tried to cover herself, but Hyunmyeong thought he must be dreaming. He slapped himself hard. But when he tried to look again, Wai Young intervened, claiming it was just a costume for their live-streaming show. The next day, Hanai happily went to meet Shirkyung again. They spent the afternoon cooking together, laughing and sharing stories. But outside forces worked against her. Gina spread false rumors that Shirkyung and Hanai were dating. Hearing the news, Hanai was devastated. She hid away, refusing to see anyone for days. Shirkyung grew worried when he couldn't reach her. He even went to her shared house, but only Hyunmyeong was home. By now, Hyunmyeong had overheard Hanai and Manayo talking about her limited time to find true love. Misunderstanding, he assumed Hanai was terminally ill and had only a short time left. Moved with pity, Hyunmyeong began treating her with extra care. Knowing she loved grilled pork belly, he took her out for barbecue, fulfilling what he thought was one of her final wishes. Hanai, touched by his kindness, ate with joy. But on their way home, the sky suddenly opened and heavy rain poured down. Annie froze. Rainwater meant danger. Once soaked, her human legs would vanish, replaced by her tail. If anyone saw, her secret would be exposed, and she would no longer be safe. There she stood in the storm, a mermaid with borrowed legs, terrified and vulnerable, praying for shelter before her true form was revealed. Soon after, Hanai and her housemates entered a food development contest hosted by a famous company. After days of hard work, they created an innovative new product. But because Hanai accidentally lost one of the ingredients, their presentation fell apart. Feeling dejected, the group went to a countryside farm to relax. When Shirkyung learned Hanai was there, he drove for hours just to see her. Standing before her, he asked, "Why have you been avoiding me?" Under his earnest explanation, their misunderstandings were finally cleared, and both of them smiled sweetly. That night, while everyone else was asleep, Hanai slipped into the pool to play in the water. It had been so long since she had been in her true form. But when a green apple suddenly dropped into the pool, she grew nervous. She quickly dried her tail, transforming back into legs. What she didn't realize was that Hyunmyeong, hiding nearby in the grass, had seen everything. Hyunmyeong returned to his room, replaying the memories of the past few days. The truth became undeniable. Hanai wasn't a dream, nor an illusion. She was a real mermaid, living right beside them. The next moment, Hanai appeared at his door. Though startled, Hyunmyeong reassured himself. She wasn't dangerous, and in fact, she was even a little cute. The following morning, when Hyunmyeong encountered Hanai again, he instinctively kept his distance, avoiding eye contact. Yet when she nearly got splashed with water, he stepped in front of her without hesitation, shielding her from the rain. Hanai was quietly touched. Meanwhile, Shirkyung continued calling her late at night, their conversations dragging on for hours. To anyone else, it might have sounded dull, but to them, it was sweet, even silly, like love itself. Soon, Shirkyung began openly courting her, bringing flowers and visiting her home. Hana even invited him into her room, and the two whispered playful words to each other, like teenagers in love. But trouble came quickly. Jina appeared at a bar, pretending to be drunk, trying to lure Shirkyung back. To his credit, Shirkyung resisted temptation and walked away, proving his sincerity. Later, during the company competition, Hanai accidentally performed in an unpolished way, but to everyone's surprise, her authenticity charmed the judges. Shirkyung, deeply moved, hugged her tightly. In that moment, Hanai's heart raced uncontrollably. But once again, Jin-ah witnessed it and grew more determined to sabotage her. Even so, Hanai's team won first place in the contest, earning not only prize money but also positions as full-time employees at the company. That night, Shirkyung overheard Hanai's secret. She had only 2 days left to find true love. If she failed, she would turn to ashes. The next day, on her way to a date with Shirkyung, it suddenly began to pour. But just in time, Hyunmyeong appeared, holding an umbrella. He had followed her, knowing it might rain, determined to protect her. Carrying Hanai on his back, he walked through the storm, finally delivering her safely to Shirkyung's side before quietly walking away. Watching Hyunmyeong's back disappear into the rain, Hanai was deeply moved once again. The next morning, their first official day as company employees, Hanai was called into a private room by Jina. She revealed she had discovered Hanai's secret and threatened to report it, which would get her fired. To humiliate her further, she smeared cake all over Hanai's face. Just then, Shirkyung appeared. Seeing Hanai's face covered in cake and realizing Jina's cruelty, his last bit of patience with Jina shattered. Later, when Hanai went to the bathroom to wash her face, she slipped and fell, her fate now hanging in the balance. Her legs instantly turned into a shimmering fishtail. Panicking, she fell to the ground and hurriedly called Manayo for help. At that moment, Jina pushed open the bathroom door. There, in plain sight, was Hanai and her gleaming golden tail. She finally realized the truth. Hanai was a mermaid, cursed to reveal her true form whenever her legs touched water. Later, during a program recording session, Jina set up a cruel trap. She deliberately asked Hanai to clean a fish tank, then suddenly splashed water onto her body. Just